Hey there, this is Nathan Mark. Today is Thursday, January 30th, 2025. This is the open of the New York session. We are about to open here and wanted to do a quick video to show the open, show how I approach the markets in the morning, what I look at, and share my thoughts here. So let's go ahead and dive right in. What you are seeing here is a sink or swim internals grid. If you've watched other videos of mine, you've seen this grid. It's loading up right now. Okay, so we have the NASDAQ here, we have the S&Ps right here, and we have the Dow right here. These are futures. Mostly what I trade is the indexes. And what stands out to me? So yesterday in the NASDAQ, we had a mostly down day in the morning, right? We kind of flatlined heading into the afternoon session, and then we pushed back up and we pushed back up really nicely overnight. A really nice aggressive move overnight right here, right? Very steady, nice price action to the upside last night in the NASDAQ. Choppy morning heading into the opening here. So this is the opening trade. What do we see? Well, this is a 5-minute chart. What stands out to me is that first and foremost on the histogram squeeze indicator here, we have a squeeze. Here it is. We have a squeeze. Squeezing into the open, which means that we could just pop off and explode from here. Looks like we want to explode to the upside in the NASDAQ. We are up 136 points. S&Ps are up 24 points and YM is down 49. So first thing I see is that squeeze, right? The red dots mean there's a squeeze. That means that there's a tight range of price action that is just ready to burst in one direction or another. And here, clearly, we can see it looks like we want to burst up to the upside. That's number one. Number two, the blue line here is the 8-period moving average, and the green line is the 21-period moving average. Again, on a 5-minute chart. When the 8 is above the 21 and price is trading above the 8 period here, and it clearly price is moving up, well, we consider a long trade, especially with the current state of the NASDAQ, right? We're already up 132 points today. Okay, if the 8 period were to cross under the 21 period moving average, then we look for a potential short trade. Long story short, squeezing into the open, the 8 is above the 21. We're up 123 points. Perhaps we should look for a long trade. What is the S&Ps doing? Up 23 points. Same story here, right? Squeezing into the morning, as we see with these red dots. The 8 is above the 21. Price is pushing up. Perhaps we should consider it long. Look at how choppy the Dow was yesterday. Wow. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Today, in the overnight session, we pushed up, right around up until 5:30 a.m. Central, and then we flushed down. What a great trade this was, huh? When we see something like this, strong push lower, price pushes back up towards the 8-period moving average, we can go for a short here and get a nice short trade right there. Now the Dow is pushing up. Interesting how the Dow is pushing up and the NASDAQ is coming in, meaning it's moving down. So some inverse action there amongst the Dow and the NASDAQ. The Dow is also squeezing. Again, this is a 5-minute chart. Look at that squeeze into the open. Notice the histogram here. Lower into the open, momentum is coming down and then going up into the open and then boom. Compare that to the NASDAQ. Momentum was moving up into the open and then down at the open. So just some things to keep in mind. I just think this is all very interesting. That's that analysis there. The VIX is actually down. It's 1577. That's a low reading on the VIX. Look at, go all the way back to earlier this week, all the way up at 20, right? So right here, we could go long the Dow and short the NASDAQ. Long Dow, short NASDAQ. Let's look at what this looks like on our trading platform. 5-minute chart of the NASDAQ. Strong close below the 8 on the opening candle. The 8 is the blue line. That means there's a high probability that price is going to continue lower. All right, and there it goes. Let's look at YM, the Dow. Here's the Dow. Opening candle, strong push up at the opening. High probability that price is going to continue higher. So yesterday was that Fed decision, and Fed kept interest rates as is, no change. That was basically unanimous. Everybody thought that that's what the Fed was going to decide, and that's exactly what happened. You know, this move in the overnight session was really interesting to me in the NASDAQ. This was so clean right here. I participated to the upside. Let's put my drawings back on. Yeah, there's a lot of lines, but this is important to note here. So we are trading right at this 50% retracement level. A lot going on, I know. There's a lot of lines. So like I was explaining in my video yesterday, I have 2 fib sequences on this chart. I have the 1 fib that was from up here. I have to go to a higher time frame. Okay, from this all-time high all the way down to this pivot low. There's 1 Fibonacci sequence. The other fib sequence I have on is from this pivot high to this low. And if we zoom in now, so this is the 50% retracement on this higher time frame move. If we zoom in, I need to start using keyboard shortcuts. This is where we are trading right now, right on that 50% retracement area of that larger, higher time frame fib area. So I'm just watching price right now. The swings are huge, right? We pushed up all the way to 21,670, and then all the way down to 21,597. That's a 70+ point move. Okay, 72 points-ish. And now we're pushing back up. Let's see what the Dow is doing. The Dow is still pushing. Look at that. If we enter here, stops here, we get a nice trade in the Dow to the upside. The Dow could be the cleanest index there is today. NASDAQ is just going like this, choppy, choppy, choppy. We had some economic news that came out today. GDP, right, came in lower than expected. This was the expected 2.5%. It came in at 2.3%. Initial jobless claims lower than expected, not by much, but home sales comes out, pending home sales comes out in about 20 minutes. So, you know, maybe the NASDAQ wants to wait for that to come out. We'll see. And tomorrow, of course, we have a number of other economic news announcements. Check out our heat map. This is the daily. NVIDIA is still dropping. Okay, they're still selling NVIDIA. That's interesting. Tesla is bouncing back in a major way today. Let's see what's going on in the hourly. This is the S&P 500 heat map. I look at it to get a big picture view of what's happening in the stock market. Microsoft is getting hammered, but Meta had really good earnings. I think they're up, 3.76% on a $1.77 trillion market cap. So huge, huge, huge day for Meta thus far. All right, what does the NASDAQ want to do here? It looks like the price is respecting this Fibonacci area. Look, the fibs are relatively new to me in my trading. I learned recently that the higher time frame Fibonacci levels on a chart, they do work nicely as a big picture roadmap. And as of right now, this price action confirms that, because this line right here is the 50% retracement level of that big move from last year into early this year that I put the Fibonacci sequence on, the all-time high to that pivot low that I talked about a few minutes ago. Okay, that's that line right here. So price came under, and now we're pushing up. Let's look at the Dow. I'm interested in the Dow. I really am. The Dow is up 0.1% right now. This is just a really, really nice setup. Same thing in the S&Ps, right? The ES, I mean, look, that's clean. Notice the NASDAQ is just kind of hanging out right here versus the ES, higher, higher, higher. And look at those moving averages, right? They are pointed up. The Dow moving average is pointing up, and the 8 crossed above the 21. So here's the Dow. We could go long here and put a stop at 44.87. I want to see how far in this comes here. I mean, this is a naked chart of the Dow, right? I have nothing on here. Let's see. If we can put some fibs on here real quick, because the fibs have been working nicely on the NASDAQ, right? So clearly Dow is trending upwards. This is a daily chart of the Dow. Wow. Yeah, let's kind of see what this looks like here. All right, we're not really near any pivot there. Let's try this. What I'm doing here is I want to see like where price is pivoting and if it aligns with a fib sequence. So I'm going to put, you go from low, this low here. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? These are all just areas. This low, and you bring it up to, oh, I'm sorry. Let me just reset this. Okay, so the high to low. Okay, so now look at price. This is a daily. Look at it, trading so nicely, so clean above the 8-period moving average on a daily chart. Such a clean move down as well, below the 8-period moving average. Now let's drop down into a 5-minute and see what's going on here. Ooh, look at that retracement. Retrace and push. Yeah, so I was busy, putting fib levels on. And kind of wish I would have entered here at 44,904. NQ is in such a tight range. When this breaks out of the range, it's gonna move. It's gonna move. She's gonna move. Let's look at S&Ps. S&P's moving up 0.45% now. And there goes YM. Let's see what happens here. Love to see us get lower. If we can come in a little bit, kind of retrace closer to this area here, which is the 8 period, right? I might be interested in a long in the Dow still. Let's see what happens. Check out gold. This is gold. Up 37 points. Is this the cleanest move you've ever seen in your life or what? Look at that. Let's pull up gold in Top Step. Wow. Congratulations, gold diggers. Whoever's trading gold out there. Doesn't get much cleaner than this. Doesn't get much cleaner than this. Wow. That's pretty cool to see. Let's see what the NASDAQ can do here. For me today, target on NASDAQ, if we move higher, 800. Well, within this range right here, right? So from 820 to 7, let's call it 775, 780, right within here. Right within here. It's a big range. Boom. Target. Y, Fibonacci line, Fibonacci level. Right, there it goes. It's breaking out. Okay, so took a minute, but the NASDAQ is going now. Wow. Look at the NASDAQ up 170 points. Looking good. Looking good for a long. My goodness, this thing is going to scurry up to 800 real quick at this rate. Looks like we're going to make a new high in the NASDAQ here. The high of the day is 715.50. There's a very high probability that the NASDAQ continues higher and does not stop. Now, you have to be willing, with economic data coming out in about 12 minutes, you have to be willing to risk. I mean, if you go long, for me, I'd have to put a stop down here at 21,636. I mean, that's a really big risk. At the same time, we just made a new high. It's not slowing down. We have the squeeze. The squeeze hasn't even fired. Look at the S&P and the NASDAQ and the YM. Everything is moving up. Everything. You could go long in all three indexes right now. And oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. This is awesome, huh? NASDAQ, 644 down here. 97 point, I mean, it's a 100-point move in 3 minutes. Very cool to see that. Very, very cool. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a retracement. See if we can get a little bit of a retracement. This is a 30-minute chart right here, pushing away from this area here. We've got this area of moving averages. We haven't even gotten to overextended here yet. I'm waiting because I want to see what happens in the next 5-10 minutes, and then we can decide if we want to go long. Beautiful, beautiful upside action here. There's the YM. Now look, if we would have gone long here, we could trail a stop, and we'd still be in this trade, making some decent change. Okay, so those are my thoughts on the morning trade here. Market's looking strong to the upside. I want to be patient right here. There is some news coming out at 10 a.m. pending home sales. Not sure how much that's going to impact the overall marketplace here, but with the Fed decision yesterday and the market reacting this way, with across the board, all the indices are up now. The Dow's up 120, the S&P is up 38. These are futures, of course, and NQ is up 200. So could be a day where futures are up 400 or 500 points, and I would love to participate in that. For now, we are being patient. All right, patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.